When I first heard about the oral interview, my first thoughts were that, I'm a little bit nervous, I guess, about interviewing people because it's not really a skill that I've learned before. But I'm definitely excited because moving to Anacortes, I don't really know much of its background. And to be able to get that sort of information from people who have lived here for a long time, I think is really fascinating.
I thought it would be like really interesting to, learn about Anacortes history, but also to kind of like create a project that would be seen by citizens in the future.
I really want to know kind of more about the, how the marinas and the boat building industry have affected Anacortes. And I also want to learn some about because the schools here have changed a lot, I feel, with the high school moving around. And I kind of want to learn more about what it was like to go to school here before the new high school was built.
I was thinking first of all music, possibly because I'm really interested in writing and playing music, but especially classical music, but I'm not sure.
In terms of topics, I really like focusing on the native land. That's what I did for my other project, and it was really interesting. So I think it would be pretty cool to focus on the native land and the natives in Anacortes.
The original inspiration for this was working on a oral history project at the high school, but that was one that was about family, and it ended up being, a lot of it ended up being this really beautiful storytelling. Inspiration for myself personally is I have a ton of love for this town, and I think that there's so much of it that remains really mysterious to me. There's so much that I don't know. There's all of these secret stories.
I think it's really great practice for later on in life, but also just for sharing things with the community and with the school.
There's skills of being able to be resilient in the face of an overwhelming quantity of unknown factors. That can be just devastating. And these are skills that you need in life. When you are out in the real world and you have a million issues and you don't know how to get out of it, how do you do it? You've gotta take it piece by piece in little bite-sized chunks. Other skills I think are the ability to get out in the world and communicate with people.
Yeah.
To be able to interact with people who are different than you, and to do that with grace and tact. And then we've got cool techie skills. It hurts no one to have audio engineering experience, to be able to craft a solid interview question. Because really, if you're able to ask a good interview question, I think you're just able to ask a good question. And if you're able to ask a good question, then you're already halfway down the path of getting amazing answers.
It fleshes out the history of Anacortes, and it gives more meaning, I guess, to Anacortes, where most people would just see a town.
We are taking a problem-based learning approach, where we put together these big lists of all of the issues that we have, all of the unknowns, the things that we're not sure how to make them work, and then sort of approach those things step by step. All right, so we've got this problem, how are we going to figure this out? The students are going to have ownership over this.
Projects like this, I think, do hold a lot of significance in the community and historically because, at the library, the museum, there are a whole bunch of archives of interviews that people have done. And I feel that adding on to that, you kind of slowly build up a bigger and bigger understanding of the history of this town and what the people who live in this town are what their backstory is.
I'm hoping that this project can be something that becomes something bigger, where we get a voice from people outside of the school who actually have something good to share that maybe hasn't been cut discovered yet.
I feel like this project would go over a lot of people's heads, but I think it is definitely like a worthwhile thing to pursue.
I think if we're able to like preserve it in some way, like the museum or something, and people would actually be able to see it, then I think that would be really important, because it would be like if there was like, I don't know, it's like if we're looking back 50 years and we see records of all the people that lived back then, it's like looking back into the past, and it's kind of like you're almost there, so that's kind of hopefully what we try to prevent.